Oh, come on, Rice. Alright, so it's time to clean out the coop here. Got some good ore roasting nitrate material here. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and scoop some up here. Of course, always put your mask on when you're dealing with this stuff. Chicken poop and all that good stuff. Alright, so we've got it classified down to 30 mesh and higher. So it's down to a powder. Alright. So we're going to throw our nitrates and our acid, phthalic, I gotta look that up, bacteria, all the bacteria that's in here, and of course it's got natural nitrates in there, it's got potassium in there, a lot of the same stuff you would smelt the ore with if you were to put it in a like a flux. So this is my chicken poop, and we're just going to sprinkle it in there. The exact ratio is just kind of how crazy you want to get it. I'm going to probably do more than this, actually. Alright. So, we want to make some sulfur dioxide, some hydrogen, sulfide, and we need to get the reaction going. We need to add some oxygen. Okay, let's drop it in there. Ooh, you got a pretty delicious looking mix going on. That's going to create probably some sulfur dioxide, some nitrous oxide, and because we're converting the sulfur down to a gas, incremental over a long period of time. It's nothing outrageous. It's not like nitric acid, but think of it as dilute nitric acid that you're kind of creating here with the microbials acting as your catalyst. And the microbials are present in the chicken manure. So this is a inexpensive way to do this. It takes a couple weeks. You can maybe even let it sit for a few months. Keep adding your ore on top. Keep adding manure. Keep adding water. Stir it every probably 2 or 3 days, and this will break down those copper sulfides or any other sulfides you have in there, chalcopyrite, and liberate the gold from the sulfides. So this is called the Patio Process. I don't hear too many people talking about it. I kind of found out about it a few years ago. Of course, I always knew about nitric acid and nitrates, but the microbials and the bacteria that actually helps break down metal ions, it was kind of a new concept to me. I heard about it a few years ago, and it just makes sense. So yeah, take advantage of what you got. This is what the old timers used to do. It works great for silver ores. Um, you have to look into that more, but it helps the lead sulfide break down and liberate the silver from the lead. So what they used to do is throw mercury in the mix and agitate it along with this action, and basically swoop up the native silver and the mercury, and turn that lead into lead, or oxidize the lead, or probably turn it into like a lead sulfate. Um, but same concept here, but with gold. The gold here is stuck onto the copper and iron complex. So we just need to take away one more sulfur atom and iron atom, and transfer or break down the copper into a copper nitrate or copper sulfate. And that's what this is accomplishing here. And it kind of, if you've seen copper sulfate, we all have the blue stuff, the root killer. That's kind of what's going to happen here, and over time. And this is a safe, easy, super inexpensive, bio-leaching friendly way of doing this with your gold ore. And I don't know, maybe it'll catch, but I'll run it through the sluice in a few months. I'm going to let this sit, or maybe a month, and then I'll do a video on that and show you the results. But yeah, look into it. It's called the Patio Process, and this will eliminate the need for roasting, which is super expensive. And if you had a big batch to do, I can imagine you need a giant very energy consuming operation. And out in the desert here, we just don't have trees laying around where you can throw billowing smokestacks of carbon and hydrogen sulfides and sulfur dioxide in the air, which is bad anyways. So this is the eco-friendly way to do it. It's cheap, and you just have to be patient. I think it's the way to go. All right, let's go on to the next thing here. Okay, so some of this, like right here, is actually gold. But like this right here, you can see that that's chalcopyrite, but there might be some gold attached, real small. But this, I would say, is kind of a chalcopyrite mixed with gold. I get some of that sometimes, where it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of in, I think the gold's suspended in limbo with the chalcopyrite is trapped in there. So this will help, and like this that right there, that spot, this spot, this spot. This is a little bit more gold than this and this. So we want to try to get all of it in a eco-friendly, inexpensive way, just like they would do back in the old days, except for we're not messing with the mercury or anything right now. Just trying to get that gold liberated from the chalcopyrite. And that's just the nature of the ore in this area. It likes to run with the copper, and kind of makes sense since they have similar melting points, and the iron is in the mix, which is good. So, you know, this quartz got super hot, and move the copper ions and gold ions together through this hydrothermal solution. So that's just kind of what we're dealing with sometimes. There is free mill gold in here, but at times you've got this chalcopyrite, and my theory is it hasn't been assayed or anything as far as just the chalcopyrite, which I should probably just try to assay the chalcopyrite by itself, but I haven't done that yet. But I think it is in the copper is in, or the gold is in, stuck in there. So we're trying to get it out of there. Sprinkle a little bit more in there. There we go. And probably the best thing to do would use a plastic barrel or a polyurethane barrel, like a feed barrel, rather than my metal barrel here. But you can see it's reacting, it's bubbling. You're just doing what nature is doing, and you don't want to add salt because salt will kill some microbials and bacteria, and you want the bacteria to act as a nitrate catalyst. And I could already kind of smell stuff going on here. So yeah, this is an awesome way to do it, guys. Oh, and one more thing, you do want to leave the lid open, and you want to stir this to get the ore some oxygen. And sunlight is probably somewhat preferable too, but it's kind of a give and take here with the barrel. This way is great too. So I mean, you can't really get it all spread out and in the sun like that. But if you had a huge barrel of it, I guess it'd probably be better and get it some sunlight. I think that would speed up the process. But you do want it moist. You do want some stuff going on with the bacteria in there, just like composting. So you're basically, this is a lot like composting, but sunlight, I guess it does help, and access to oxygen. So that's why you're going to want to stir it every probably about every couple days, or maybe once a week at least or something. So we're going to nerd out on the old chemistry here of the reaction going on with the chalcopyrite, CuFeSO2. Basically, in layman's terms, we've got 2 CuFeS2 plus 8 NO3 plus 4H. So we've got our copper, iron, and our sulfur with our nitrogen or oxygen, our hydrogen, converting to 2 coppers. We got our nitric oxide, 2 plus 2 iron, nitrogen, oxygen, NO3 3 plus 2S plus 4 NO2 plus 2 HO2. So what I'm taking from this is that we are, I'm not deep into chemistry yet, but we're taking away some ions and we're converting it into something else. So this was NO3. To make a long story short, we're going into NO2. We're taking our 2 Cu and we are, well, I guess leaving that alone. We've got our 2 Fe. So we're breaking that down, and we're breaking our nitrogen is basically, from my understanding, is taking away, accepting some of the ions from the copper and from the iron and converting the sulfur into different forms of gas, such as sulfur dioxide. The bacteria is the catalyst, significantly accelerates the electron transfer. So there's a lot of nitrates and different things in the bacteria, to make a long story short, that are the catalyst. So that's great, and the chicken manure provides all this. Oxidation of copper and iron. You get a sulfur release. During this reaction, you've got a formation of soluble salts, such as our copper nitrate. Oh, that, yeah, right up here, NO3. Oops, sorry, NO3. And iron nitrate, which is FeNO3, FeNO3. And so we didn't have this before. Got hydrogen here. But we're actually losing, looks like we're losing two hydrogens in this equation. So there's probably some hydrogen sulfide gas being released. But yeah, that's the gist of it. I'm not taking a lot of chemistry or anything right now, but it's definitely interesting. Let's see here. So we've got a few different types of bacteria that are beneficial in the chicken manure. Bacteria in the chicken manure, we've got Geobacillus thermodenitrificans. And this is great at oxidizing sulfur compounds. You got acidophilic bacteria, which isn't super rich, but that also helps break down metal ions of all kinds. You got CuFeS2, reacts with nitrate ions in the water. This provides oxidation. Oxidation occurs. You got copper, iron, and the sulfide are oxidized, releasing sulfate ions. Nitrogen oxides are released, so nitric oxide is released slowly, but not dangerously. It's not going to be a crazy brown fume reaction that is dangerous by any means. It's very low. So that's great, because nitric acid is brutal. It's super expensive too. So we're creating this with waste. And nitric acid is like ridiculously expensive, and refractory ores like this, which mine isn't necessarily refractory, it's just, I think all good ores have some refractory stuff going on. So, in my opinion, and if not, you're going to hit it eventually once you get down by the water table. So, copper nitrate, sulfuric acid, and nitrogen dioxide is created during this process. And that all turns this into soluble material and leaves the gold behind. So, and copper sulfides are actually going to occur naturally too and get soluble. So, to make a long story short, in conclusion, chicken manure and water is basically all you need. You don't throw salt in there, because salt kills bacteria. And sure, there could be some nasty stuff in chicken manure, but just don't put it in your breakfast and don't eat it. Don't breathe it in all day long. And it's no different than, it's probably a lot safer than going to the bathroom at your local train station, or pumping gas and touching the gas pump. It's probably 1,000 times safer than that. So there you go, guys. There's the cheap and easy, effective way called the Patio Process. They used to do that back in the old days. It works great, like I said, with silver ores and gold ores and arsenic, all types of sulfides. You just got to be patient and let the reaction happen. It takes a few weeks. And let me know what you guys think about it. And if you think I'm way off the mark here and that you don't think it works, then hey, leave a comment down below. But we're gonna run it through our station. This is a pre treatment, and then I'll show you guys the ultimate treatment down the road here, kind of once we get the ball mill going. But I think this way is it would be a great bioleaching technique that probably won't release all the gold, but will probably definitely release some of the sulfides without having to roast them. And that's shooting up all those dioxides and, you know, carbon up in the air. Everybody's mad about carbon and this and that, but I don't know why a lot of people haven't gone into this in detail or talked about it. But I do know back in the old days they did used to crush the ore. They used to treat it with bacteria. The Spanish were famous for doing this back in the old days, and I really think the Spanish were masters of their trade back in the day, and a lot of their methods and techniques have been lost and are not popular anymore. And I'd like to see stuff like cool old stuff, knowledge like that resurface again. So yeah, the Spanish used to crush the ore in their rostras, and then they didn't have they couldn't go down to Home Depot and get fertilizer, so they used what they had. They probably used potassium nitrate from their animals, which is a concentrated, basically used in gunpowder, black powder, and they probably just use concentrated nitrates and water, and which is kind of a low dose of nitric acid, and they would put it in their big barrels, and they would let that hit it with water and sun, and they would put their nitrates in there and let the microbials go to town. And of course, I'm sure they threw mercury in the mix, and they scooped up the native silver and gold and made a nice big old ball of amalgam. And you know the deal with that. Then they would take the amalgam, and then they would probably just burn it off, and without a retort, into the atmosphere. But you could use a retort, and maybe they did use a retort, because they did do some cinnabar mining as well, and I think they were knowledgeable with recovering mercury as they were using it. That had to come from somewhere. So yeah, I take that back. I'm sure they did have knowledge of retorts, and of course it's basically kind of like moonshine. Spanish knew how to make alcohol, so yeah, they had to get the mercury somewhere, and that's how they got it. And they would mix that with this big old solution of nitrates, microbials, bacteria. That's what we're talking about, bacteria here. And then they would get the gold out with the amalgam, with the mercury. And I think they used ball mills back in the day, or the copper sheets with the mercury, and they would amalgamate like that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I think it's gonna be awesome. So if you got some chickens, throw some poop in your ore and call me in the morning.